You probably think your bathroom habits have nothing to do with Sjögren's. Most people do. They blame the food, stress, getting older. So they ignore the signs. Flush, wash hands, move on. But what if your poop is actually one of the biggest warning signals your body is giving you right now? Because today we are talking about something almost nobody discusses when it comes to Sjögren syndrome. Your gut, your digestion, and the strange bathroom changes that may be connected to autoimmune disease. And trust me, by the end of this video, you may never look at your bowel movements the same way again. We are going to break down the stool changes, digestive symptoms, and gut warning signs that many people with Sjögren's experience years before diagnosis. The signs most doctors overlook. The symptoms most people dismiss. And the reason your gut may be revealing far more about your health than you realize. Because here's the truth. Most people think poop is just waste. Something the body gets rid of after digestion is done. That's the simplified explanation we all grew up hearing. Food goes in. Nutrients get absorbed. Whatever's left comes out. But your stool is actually deeply connected to your gut microbiome. The trillions of bacteria living inside your digestive tract right now. And those bacteria affect far more than digestion. They influence inflammation, immune function, nutrient absorption, even nerve signaling inside the gut. In other words, your gut is alive. And when something disrupts that system, your bathroom habits change before anything else does. That matters because Sjögren's is not just a dry eye disease. It's systemic. Meaning the same immune dysfunction attacking your salivary glands may also be affecting your stomach, intestines, digestive nerves, and gut lining. That's why so many people with Sjögren's struggle with symptoms that seem completely unrelated at first. Bloating, constipation, diarrhea, acid reflux, cramping, undigested food in stool, sudden food sensitivities. And because nobody connects the dots, people suffer silently for years. Today, that changes. We are going to walk through the digestive signs your body may be sending you right now. Starting with the different stool shapes, colors, and changes that should never be ignored. Because sometimes the thing people flush away every single day contains the clearest clue that something deeper is happening inside the body. Now you're probably thinking, okay, but how could my bathroom habits actually be connected to an autoimmune disease? That's exactly the right question. And the answer changes everything you thought you knew about Sjögren's. Here's what the research actually shows. Sjögren's doesn't just attack moisture-producing glands. It attacks exocrine tissue throughout the entire body. And the digestive tract is loaded with exocrine function, saliva production, stomach acid secretion, pancreatic enzyme output, bile release. Every single one of those processes can be disrupted when Sjögren's is active. And when those processes are disrupted, your stool changes. Your gut changes. Your entire digestive rhythm changes. But because nobody tells you this connection exists, you spend years blaming the wrong things. Now let's get specific. Because this is where most people finally start recognizing themselves. Before we go any further, I put together a Sjögren's symptom map that connects everything we are about to cover into one clear picture. Because these signs don't show up alone. They connect. And when you see the full pattern laid out, something shifts. You stop second-guessing yourself. Type symptom map in the comments and I'll send it to you directly. Keep watching. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why you needed it. The first sign is what I call the Sjögren's stool shift. This is when your bowel movements change without any obvious dietary reason. And once you understand what's driving it, you cannot unsee it. The Sjögren's stool shift happens because reduced salivary function and reduced digestive enzyme output change how food moves through the entire digestive tract. Less saliva means digestion starts incomplete. Less stomach acid means food isn't properly broken down before it reaches the intestines. And that incomplete breakdown ripples through everything downstream. Some people experience constipation. Hard, difficult to pass stools. Others swing the opposite direction with loose, urgent, unpredictable movements. And many people experience both at different times with no consistent pattern. You've probably been told this is IBS. But IBS is a description of symptoms, not a cause. The cause, in many people with autoimmune disease, is systemic immune and secretory dysfunction. That's the Sjögren's stool shift. And it's one of the most overlooked early warning signs in the entire disease. Type shift in the comments if your bowel movements have changed and nobody has ever connected it to your autoimmune system. But that's not even the most interesting part. Because the stool itself, the actual shape and appearance of what you're flushing away, carries specific signals that most people never think to track. Sign 2 is what I call the texture signal. And this one is precise. Hard, pellet-like stools that look like small separate lumps are a direct sign that your colon is absorbing too much water from the stool before it exits. That happens when transit time is too slow. And in Sjögren's, slow transit can be driven by something called autonomic neuropathy. That's where the nerves controlling gut movement are affected by the autoimmune process. The gut literally loses some of its signaling rhythm. The muscles don't contract on schedule. And the result is stool that sits too long, dries out, and comes out in pieces. On the other side, loose watery stool that rushes out with urgency is a signal that the gut wall is irritated or inflamed. In Sjögren's, intestinal inflammation is more common than most people realize. The immune system is already hyperactive. And when it attacks gut tissue, it disrupts the lining that normally regulates how much water stays in the stool. Both of these texture signals are connected to the same underlying immune dysfunction. But because they look like opposite problems, most doctors treat them separately instead of tracing them to the same root. Type texture in the comments if you've experienced either of these and never made the connection. And this is where it gets important. Because stool color tells a completely different story. Sign 3 is what I call the color map. And once you learn this, it becomes one of the most powerful gut health tools you have. Brown stool is normal. That color comes from bilirubin, a byproduct of bile processing in the gut. But when bile production or flow is disrupted, the color changes. Pale, clay-colored, or gray stool is a serious signal that bile is not reaching the intestines properly. In Sjögren's, liver involvement is documented. Primary biliary cholangitis, a condition where bile ducts are slowly destroyed, is directly associated with Sjögren's. When that bile flow is reduced, stool loses its color. This is not a symptom to wait out. If your stool is consistently pale or clay-like, that signal needs to reach your doctor immediately. Yellow stool that has an oily or greasy appearance is a sign that fat is not being absorbed properly. This is called steatorrhea. And it points to reduced pancreatic enzyme output or reduced bile salt function, both of which can be affected in Sjögren's. The fat that should have been absorbed is instead passing through and showing up in the stool. Floating stool that won't sink is often connected to this same fat malabsorption. Not always, but when it's consistent, it's a signal worth tracking. And green stool, when it happens regularly and not from eating a large amount of leafy greens, can mean that stool is moving through the intestines too quickly for bile to fully break down. Again, a gut motility signal. In Sjögren's, motility disruption can run in both directions. Type map in the comments if any of these color changes have shown up for you and went unexplained. Most people stop paying attention here. But the signs that come next are the ones that get missed for years. Sign 4 is what I call the absorption gap. This is when your body is eating enough but absorbing too little. And the stool signal for this is seeing undigested food particles in what you pass. Not occasional corn or seeds, which is normal. But a consistent presence of food that should have been broken down long before it reached the exit. The absorption gap in Sjögren's is driven by enzyme insufficiency. When the pancreas and digestive secretions are affected by immune dysfunction, the enzymes that break down proteins, fats, and carbohydrates are produced in smaller amounts. Food moves through without being fully processed. And the result shows up in the stool and in your body. Nutritional deficiencies even in people eating well. Low B12. Low iron. Low vitamin D. Low magnesium. Levels that supplement temporarily but keep dropping. Because the problem isn't intake. The problem is absorption. And until the absorption mechanism is addressed, the deficiencies return. That's the absorption gap. And it's one of the clearest signs that Sjögren's has reached the digestive system in a meaningful way. Type gap in the comments if recurring deficiencies have been part of your story. And this is where the gut and the mouth connect in a way most people never see. Sign 5 is the cascade effect. And this one starts before food even reaches your stomach. Digestion begins in the mouth. Saliva contains amylase, an enzyme that starts breaking down carbohydrates from the very first bite. It lubricates food so it moves smoothly through the esophagus. It buffers the esophageal lining against acid. And it signals the rest of the digestive system to prepare for incoming food. In Sjögren's, salivary function is impaired. Most people know this as dry mouth. But the downstream consequence of that dry mouth on the rest of digestion is almost never discussed. When saliva is insufficient, the digestive cascade starts broken. Carbohydrate breakdown is incomplete from bite 1. The esophagus is less lubricated, which is why so many people with Sjögren's experience a catching or sticking sensation when swallowing. Acid reflux becomes more likely because the natural buffer against it is reduced. And the stomach receives poorly prepared food that it then has to work harder to process. That extra work puts pressure on enzyme output, which puts pressure on intestinal absorption, which shows up in the stool. That entire chain from mouth to toilet is the cascade effect. And it starts with something as small as not having enough saliva. Type cascade in the comments if you've connected dry mouth to digestive symptoms before, or if you've never heard them described as part of the same system until right now. But there's one more sign. And this one is the one people feel every day but rarely mention to a doctor. Sign 6 is what I call the invisible inflammation signal. This is the chronic, low-grade gut discomfort that lives in the background. Not dramatic enough to call an emergency, but persistent enough to affect every single day. It shows up as a low-grade nausea that doesn't have a clear trigger. An uncomfortable fullness after eating very little. A bloated sensation that builds throughout the day even on days when you've eaten normally. A cramping that comes and goes with no dietary explanation. A general heaviness in the digestive tract that makes eating feel like something to manage rather than something to enjoy. Most people with this pattern have been told it's anxiety, or IBS, or stress. But in Sjögren's, this pattern is driven by intestinal inflammation, altered gut motility, and the nervous system changes that come with systemic autoimmune activity. The gut has its own nervous system called the enteric nervous system. It contains more nerve cells than the spinal cord. And it is directly influenced by immune activity throughout the body. When the immune system is dysregulated in Sjögren's, the enteric nervous system feels it. And that is why the gut discomfort never fully goes away with diet changes alone. Because diet isn't the source. Immune dysfunction is. Type invisible in the comments if this background gut discomfort has been part of your life and nobody has ever connected it to autoimmune disease. These signs aren't random. The Sjögren stool shift. The texture signal. The color map. The absorption gap. The cascade effect. The invisible inflammation signal. Each one feels like its own separate problem. Each one gets its own separate treatment that never fully resolves it. Because none of those treatments are addressing what's actually driving it. Your gut is not broken on its own. It's responding to a systemic immune process that starts long before most people get diagnosed. And the stool changes, the digestive symptoms, the bathroom shifts that you've been dismissing for years, those weren't random. Those were your body trying to show you the pattern. Your body has been trying to tell you something. And now you have a language for it. Now you're probably thinking, okay, so what do I actually do with this information? Here's what matters most right now. Bring these signs to your doctor. Not as individual complaints. As a pattern. Say it directly. These digestive symptoms feel systemic, not just digestive. I want to rule out underlying inflammation and autoimmune involvement as the cause. I want to understand whether my Sjögren's could be affecting my gut. Those words matter. Because when you frame it as a pattern, a connected system rather than a list of random complaints, it changes the conversation. It changes what gets investigated. And it changes how quickly you get answers. Look at the comments right now. Shift. Texture. Map. Gap. Cascade. Invisible. Every one of those words is a person who recognized something in their own body today that they had never been able to name before. You are not alone in this. And you are not imagining it. I created a symptom map specifically for Sjögren's. It connects every gut symptom we covered today to the rest of the body. It shows you how dryness, inflammation, enzyme disruption, and immune dysfunction all connect to what you're experiencing in the bathroom and beyond. And it gives you something concrete to bring to your next appointment. Type symptom map in the comments right now and I'll send it to you directly. No charge. No catch. Just the clearest picture of your symptoms you've ever had. There are gut warning signs in Sjögren's we haven't even touched yet. Signs that appear in the skin. In the joints. In the nervous system. All connected to the same immune dysfunction that starts in the gut. That's what I'll be covering next. So make sure you're subscribed and notifications are on, because that video connects the rest of the picture. Your body has been trying to tell you something. For months. Maybe years. And somewhere along the way, someone told you it was stress. Or diet. Or just the way things are now. But your body doesn't send random signals. Every pattern has a source. Every symptom has a system behind it. It's time someone finally connected the dots. And now they have. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.